welcome to ADHD Friendly. I'm Patty Blinderman. I am a professionally certified ADHD coach with over 10 years of experience, and I'm the host of this podcast where everything that I share is intentionally selected in the hopes that it tilts the playing field in favor of your brain so you're thriving with ADHD. I invite you to check out my website, ADHDfriendly.com, for lots of resources to support you to thrive with ADHD. So this is episode 106. Woo! 106. Change things up a little bit in 106. So I brought in my very visual, I'll call this my ISM bookcase, Insight in Mind, where I can see my books more easily. Not sure how this layout is going to work for me, but I'm trying it out. It's a little distracting. This is, what, the fourth time I've started, because I'm like very disoriented. And it's just a slight shift. It's so interesting how our brains get used to our patterns, and visually, I'm very strong visually. So that change is something I'm really noticing, and it's very distracting. But welcome. So today I'm going to share a celebration, as I always do when I kick off our new episode each week. And then I have an ADHD friendly tip to share. And our topic this week is fantastic brains and where to find them. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know that was inspired by Harry Potter. Okay, so my celebration is Becca. I shared this with you. I've got a little printout. I need to fold it so all you're looking at is my sticker. I made every year I do my favorite ADHD friendly things of the year. So I made my 2023 favorite things sticker. They're ADHD friendly. And I'm super excited because it is several weeks early, even though we record that episode, about a month before the end of the year. I need to have it done so I can, get them printed and start, making sure I have everything that's on my list with the sticker, and I'm kind of staging everything to get ready to record that. So I'm excited that I already got it made. It was very sparkly because I had the new logo to work with, and I found a sticker pattern, and I'm ordering actual stickers this year. So in the past, when I did this, this is last year's, you can see it peeled, it's not sticking great. This was last year's ADHD friendly favorite things sticker for 2022. And it was my old logo, but I just printed it on large labels and cut the circle out, which took a lot of focus. It was very tedious. You remember that, Becca?
I do.
So I'm excited to have an actual sticker that I can just peel and stick, and it's going to be much more efficient. So it's updated. It's ready to go because I've already designed it. So I'm really happy with a lot of the things I'm getting done in advance to support my future self, to not have to get overwhelmed with everything I still need to do. All right. So that leads me to my ADHD friendly tip for this week. So this is a tip, and this is from Fortune magazine. I found this really interesting, Becca. So I'm going to share this with you and get your thoughts. So the tip is to rank. They called it rank. Rank your mood every morning.
Ooh.
So this is from Verizon CEO Hans Vestberg. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Hans. He said that he ranks his mood from 1 to 10 every morning. And this is a quote from Hans. He says, "It helps me get into the right mood and energy to do my job." And he shares that the numbers gauge whether he can show up in his office as his best self. So I love this because it's like a quick check-in.
Yeah.
And remember, those of us with ADHD may not have really strong metacognition, where we're not really even aware. We're just kind of get up and we go without stopping to really check in with ourselves and see okay, where's my energy? How am I feeling? Or rate your mood. And so I'm going to share what he rates the different numbers as and what it means for him. And just invite you to explore, if you were going to rate your mood or rank your mood, keep saying rate. If you were going to rank your mood every morning, what would that look like for you? Would you use a 1 to 5 scale? Would you use 1 to 10? What would those numbers mean? Because remember, if we don't decide what that looks like, and we have to think of it in the morning, we're going to resist doing it. So we want to decide what the numbers mean for us. But this is what they mean for Hans. So Hans says if he ranks his mood as a 1 or a 2, he, quote, stays in his office and works by himself. He says he isn't in a good headspace to collaborate with others.
Oh.
I would say that's probably true for all of us.
Yeah.
You might be an exception, but 1 to 2 is a pretty not a good mood. That's
Right.
like all of a sudden your worst space. What I also recognized when I read this was most people don't have the flexibility to say, yeah, I'm going to sit in the office, I'm not going to meet with anybody.
Right.
That's not often
the
accessible.
case.
We still have to kind of push through. Or a lot of us with ADHD, and I've seen this a lot in my own family and in the clients that I work with, if we wake up in a 1 to 2, we might know that we're more likely to get dysregulated and say things we don't mean or get frustrated and do things impulsively. So we might decide to do what he did, which is to, kind of stay in our space, but not think of the consequences of doing that. So it's kind of like, you know what, it's not going to help me. So I'm not going to go to work today, or I'm not going to go to school today, or I'm not going to go to that meeting or that appointment.
Right.
And so we'll cancel it, feeling very valid in knowing our pattern when we're a 1 or a 2, but not thinking about, okay, but what's the implication on, like, what are the consequences of that? How is that going to impact my future self?
Mhm.
So there might be a little bit more detail you might want to collect if you're a 1 or a 2, or whatever your numbers are for your lower area ranking. What does that mean? And what will you do? So it might be, I'm going to limit my exposure to making decisions today, or to working with other people. What does that look like in practice? Maybe you can push some appointments. Maybe you can reschedule some things, or, adjust your schedule so that it works better for you. But deciding those things in advance, especially if you're a 1 or a 2, you're not in a good space to be like, oh, I'm going to go in and tackle my schedule and rearrange everything. So making those decisions in advance gives you something you can work from and just follow, instead of expecting yourself to make all those decisions from that mood that you're in. So that's what he said. He ranks a 1 to a 2. He says his 3 to 7 is his best space. He said it's when he's energized and able to work at the highest level. He says it's usually his best range. So 3 to 7, I'm like, 3, that's, I'm like, okay, that's just, again, this is his ranking
Just above
number.
the 2,
Yeah,
huh?
I know, just barely above it, but it sounds like he can pull himself
Out of
a
that.
3, a 1 to 2, he can't. And then he said an 8 to a 10, and I found this interesting too, because I thought this was very ADHD friendly. He said, if I'm an 8 to a 10, I have so much energy that people get tired of me. That so resonated with me. I think I've shared this story before. Years ago, when my daughter was in preschool, I worked at the Container Store and I did the morning shift, which I loved because I'm a morning person. I had lots of energy, and you had to bring a lot of energy. And I remember I was just kind of like going around, and I was being very boisterous and energetic. And this one girl who was not a morning person literally looked at me and she was like, you need to calm yourself down. You're too much. And I was like, so hurt.
Right.
And it was like the first time I really recognized that my energy may not align with other people, and that could be hard for them to tolerate. And that's a fine line for us to walk with ADHD, because we want to be who we are and be authentic, but at the same time recognize if it's getting in our way. So in Hans's case, the 8 to 10, he knows himself enough to know that is too much. So that's like my Container Store example too. Like, if you're bringing up too much energy. So he says he tries to dial it back into 3 to 7 range, that ideal range for him. And he prioritizes his work to be able to do that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I like that detail. So I just invite you to explore, what would that look like for you? So if you are considering trying this ranking your mood tip for yourself, I invite you to explore, what numbers would you use? What would your numbers mean for you? So I did my own, and I'm going to share this. I made it into 4 numbers because I, like you, felt like the 3 to 7 was way too broad.
That's a big range.
It's too much.
There.
So I did 1 to 2 is kind of like, I'm sick. Like, I'm treating that like I'm down for the count. I haven't defined further, like, what does that mean I need to do?
Right.
But just in saying that, I know if I'm sick, I need to rearrange my schedule. I might need to reschedule appointments I have that day, or sessions with clients. But if I'm a 1 to 2, I'm not going to be showing up in a way that's going to be creating value for myself or my clients. A 3 to 5, I identified as, I'm okay, but I need to look at my energy drivers. Like, what is going to build up my energy so that I'm getting a little bit more that I need to function at my best. I said my 6 to 8 is my best range. Ooh. So that's where I'm like, really like, and I always forget the saying, is it cooking with oil, cooking with gas, whatever that, I don't cook. So whatever that saying is, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's my best range. 9 to 10 is my overcharge. That's where I'm overstimulated. I am kind of like when I first moved this, it was clearly not working. I was all over the place. I had to, kind of give myself a few minutes to settle in. And so for me, being overcharged, I need to maybe do a little bit of mindful breathing, maybe go for a walk and get some energy out, something to mindfully settle myself and ground myself a little bit more. Because my mood just might be too energized. So that's my ratings. I invite you to explore, what would your ratings be? What would they mean for you? I found this very sparkly because it's a quick, easy way to check in and just see, where are you and what strategies do you need to implement to either dial it up a little bit if you need to increase, or dial it down a little bit if you need to rein it in a bit. So again, just rank your mood. If you try this, post, please share your experiences in episode 106 in the ADHD Friendly podcast. We'd love to hear what worked for you. Hello, friends. I'm ADHD Friendly Girl. Are you overwhelmed, unmotivated, run down? Do you stop before you start? The answer to your challenges can be found at ADHD Friendly. ADHD Friendly is where we make the doing easier. Join ADHD Friendly today and start tilting the playing field in favor of your ADHD brain and start thriving. ADHDfriendly.com, where intention meets action. We're back. Okay. So our topic for today, fantastic brains and where to find them. So this is where you're going to find them, guys. The annual ADHD conference, I should say the annual conference on ADHD is coming up. It's in Baltimore, Maryland this year. And this is the international conference. So wherever you're listening, this is the one conference a year that all of the experts and doctors and therapists and coaches and professionals that work in the world of supporting people with ADHD come together, and we get to learn from each other. We get to connect with our community and leave with more information, more tools in our tool belt, and hopefully a few more connections to help us to thrive with ADHD. So again, it's in Baltimore, Maryland. It is November 30th through December 2nd for the in-person conference. And then there's an online virtual conference being held December 5th and 6th. So you can participate anywhere in the world from the comfort of your home or office if the virtual one works better for you. This year, for the first time, Becca, this is my big announcement. It's also why I got my sticker done earlier, because I am hosting a booth at the conference in the exhibition hall. It's my first time being an exhibit, I'm an exhibit, being an exhibitor. And I'm there just to share information about my ADHD Friendly membership platform so that I can answer people's questions and connect with them and hopefully provide some value in ADHD Friendly resources and tools along the way. But I'm in the middle of creating all of the different materials that I'm going to need to be able to show up and be able to do what I want to do with the time I have at this year's conference. So I'm super excited. I want to just share a couple of the things that the conference is promoting for the in-person conference first, and then I'll share some for the online. So they're highlighting, and I'm just going to bullet point some of these, some of the things that, when I think about what's in it for me to go to the conference, because I'm going to be honest, it's not inexpensive. It's a pretty decent financial commitment. And then if you're not in the Baltimore area and you need to stay overnight, if you don't know anybody that you can stay with, then you got to add on the hotel, and whether you're flying or driving, you still have gas, tolls. So I always encourage people, like, really step back and look at your budget, see what's going to work for you. Because there are two different price points for the in-person and the virtual, but I'm going to highlight some of the bullet points that when we think about what's in it for me for not only the money, but for, kind of carving out the time to participate so that we're doing it mindfully. So they talk about, for the in-person one, we have opportunities for face-to-face networking, for deeper learning, and for fun with your peers. And I have to say, yes, the conference checks all those boxes. It's unlike anything else in the ADHD community. I always have a tremendous amount of fun, but I'm always completely exhausted when I get back. Like, I'm very introverted, so it's a very extroverted experience, and I am like dialing it in and kind of like, cocooning and going in my cave when I get back to recharge my batteries. They have peer-to-peer groups that you can join. There's a talent show that they do. Usually I think it's on Friday night of the conference. They have meetups for attendees. They have different innovative programs. You can get continuing education credits if that's something you need, if you work in the ADHD community. And then, of course, there's the exhibit hall where there's technology and products and influencers, all different things that you'll have access to in the exhibit hall. And then if you are interested in the virtual conference, which is December 5th through 6th online, you'll have the opportunity to have on-demand viewing sessions specifically created for the virtual conference. There's also the opportunity to earn continuing education credits. And then there's live meet and greet sessions with the speakers that are doing the different conference sessions. So the sessions themselves are pre-recorded for the most part, but the person that spoke on that topic is available for a live Q&A for all of those sessions. And then there's still virtual peer-to-peer groups. There's also evening social events, which I find that interesting,
Ooh, that's fun.
that they're thinking about that and ways to connect, even though you're not there in person. So I invite you to check out either through chad.org or ADDA.org to see, actually, I think ADA is, we're going to post it because I can't remember. I don't want to say that. I think it's ADD.org, but I'm not positive.
I'll put it up.
Yep. Off the top of my head, I'm drawing a blank. My computer automatically fills it in when I start typing it. And I invite you, if you're going to be there in person, to come check out the ADHD Friendly booth. I would love to see you and have a chance to meet you in person if you are someone that is learning about this through the podcast. All right, so that's it. Quick recap. Again, this is episode 106, so I invite you to comment anything about this episode in this episode's comment section. I shared my win with the favorite thing sticker, which I need to have ready for the conference because I'm going to be sharing some of the ADHD friendly favorite things for 2023 at the conference. And then I shared the ADHD friendly tip to rank your mood every morning. I don't know, rank just sounds negative to me. I think that's what it is. Rank. It's rank. Yeah, I'm like, I just like rate, but whatever word works for you. If that is something you want to try, we'd love to hear your experience with that and how you created your own, if you changed your system, what you chose for the numbers and what they mean to you. And then the annual conference on ADHD in Baltimore, Maryland in person, November 30th through December 2nd, and then the virtual conference, December 5th through 6th. That's it for this episode of ADHD Friendly. Remember, always, I invite you, take what works for you, leave the rest behind. If you like this episode and you think it resonates with someone else, please share it. It's how other people are most likely to find the podcast. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I invite you to hop on over to ADHDfriendly.com for lots of resources and information on the ADHD Friendly membership, if that's something that would support you to thrive with ADHD. Until next time, tally ho.